Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Coffee Corner. Today is your episode 72. Let's get started. Today we're going to talk about communication, of course. I mentioned this in previous video. This is because I did my first sponsorship video, which I felt a little bit nervous about it. I only posted on the Red. I didn't want to post anywhere else because I didn't want to try. The reason I want to do it is because I've got a few messages saying that you should try out those platforms and let us know if it's really good or not. Not only for the money part, which kind of true. I feel like I've been a little bit biased about those online platforms, and then I say, yeah, why not going to try it? Because I got free session, like only limited time of free session. So I went on there and I searched everything. I liked the product, I liked the platform. The only thing I didn't really like about it is the communication. And that's when I got where I got my idea from. How to communicate effectively, especially when it comes to work, to jobs. Because, to be quite honest, I know that might sound a little bit brutal, but to be quite honest, nobody really cares about how you feel and how hard your work is or how awesome you are. They only want to see the results. Can you get things done? Yes or no? That's it. That's the only thing they want to know. They don't care about, well, I may. That could be the situation after you finish and everything. Then you can strategically talk about how hard you worked and how much effort you put there, and time and everything. You can tell them you're not just working like just kind of wave your wand and you get everything done. You do have to work really hard about it, but that is something you have to kind of strategically show to them afterwards. But when you are communicating with your bosses or with your clients, with your students, or with non-friends people relationship, you have to make sure your communication has less feeling but more reasons, is if that makes sense. So let's for example, I was, and I mean, I'm still writing for Tesla Ontario blog, and apparently I forgot some things, and then that's because I've had so many things going on at the same time. I totally forgot about that one. The reason you forgot about something because that is not really important at that moment, right? But you don't want people to know that, oh, you're not important. So I have had this contact, and then she said, oh, here's the thing you forgot, and could you do this, da, da, da. But the difficult part about written communication is you can never read their emotions and their feelings or their facial expressions. You don't know if they're saying that in a joking mode or they're saying that in a like, I'm serious, you didn't get this done. So I was a little bit nervous. So I was started to, when you get nervous, when you feel you're doing something wrong, and immediately your first reaction will be like, I'm looking for some excuses for that. And same here. So I typed a whole thing saying like how busy I was, how hard I worked. I was trying to look for a lot of things, and then this thing just got forgotten and things like that. And I had to delete that message because I realized she's not my friend. She doesn't care about how I feel. She doesn't care about how hard I worked. She only cares about if I can give her an article by this date. If I can't, then we're getting in trouble because we have a due date. And if they don't have my post, then there'll be no article for this issue, right? So, excuse me. So that thing I've learned just recently from the communication I had with with the sponsorship kind of person. Not saying either one is really bad. I'm just trying to say that a lot of things we can learn from our daily life. Another thing I noticed is when I talk to my students over the phone or through email, I realized if they couldn't finish homework, there would be a lot of excuses, or they didn't get good marks, there will be a lot of excuses. Something like I worked really hard, but I didn't know what happened. Then I've got family, and then most of my students, of course, have a lot of personal issues, including some of them have trauma, family issues, and then there are a lot of things going on because of their background, because of their history of the country or whatever, right? So I understand. But the thing is, in the real world, it doesn't matter where you are, business is a business. You have to follow certain rules. If I gave you exceptions, then wouldn't that be unfair to other students? That's my thing. I used to be very thoughtful, quotation marks. So I would try my best to accommodate everyone in my class, but then realized that, and then people take advantage of that. And then those people ruin an opportunity for people who really need help from me. And and then other people who have a normal life who you can't like, it's not their fault that they don't have any trouble. It's not their fault that they have time, they have a lot of resources to learn. It's just, you know, it this is just the reality, right? So if I gave you another chance, or if I gave you many chances, then wouldn't that be unfair to those people who don't need those chances because they do their work, they come to class on time? And then, of course, students would argue with me saying that, oh, you don't understand how hard it was for me to do da da da. Da. I kind of feel like, okay, but I do have students who are on their way to deliver their babies, still sending me messages saying that I'm sorry, I won't be able to attend a class because I'm on my way to deliver a baby. Oh, that reminds me of something like, if you have people who can do that, then I believe everyone should be able to do it, because you're now on your way to deliver a baby in a minute. So, and you know how hard it is, or you don't know, but you can find out online. And then I had the student, it's a TESOL student. I was her practice supervisor, mentor. So I was teaching him, I was teaching her, showing her how to teach in class, and then I was writing notes, everything. She never showed up on time. She never stayed to ask questions. And then she always sent her lesson plans really late in the evening. Like, tomorrow is the class, and you're sending me your lesson plan 11:59. I'm already in bed, so I can't really do that. Then she came up with a lot of excuses that how hard her life was. She had her family, she had this thing, and then she had an argument with her. Those kind of things. Not trying to say I'm a very mean person, I'm not thoughtful, I just like a very cruel, but I'm saying that this is a real world, because I can say, well, sure, I will let you go with it. But when you are entering into a real world, real workplace, not everyone's going to do that because you have those kind of things. So you have to deal with it. Well, a little bit kind of off track, but so when you handle those problems, when you need to communicate with someone about, like, I can't finish this, you need to come up with a solid plan and a solid reason why you cannot. Not talking about, I can't believe you don't understand me. Well, I don't, because I'm not your friend, I'm not your family members. I, of course, don't understand you. We're only having this work relationship. The only thing I can understand is, can you finish this job or not, right? So if you ever have a problem, make sure you communicate clearly without too much emotion, or too much emotion, too many feelings there. You want to make it clear. And when you complain, same thing. You don't want to be the one saying that, you don't know how much you hurt me, how can you do this, or something like that. Of course, it's a little bit exaggerating, but I used to be like that. So if people say, oh, your video sucks, let's just say that, and I will be like, well, you don't even know how much effort I put behind this, and I've done so much, and I'm trying so hard, how come you don't understand me? But then you think about all the whiny part. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares, because all they say or all they see is you have a bad video and nobody likes it. It doesn't matter what reasons you have. If they don't like it, they don't like it, right? It's not you're getting credit for being pathetic or being full of excuses, And people would say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I think you're really fine considering you have so much trouble with it, or you put a lot of effort there. That's not how you get compliments on your work, right? So then I learned this from my professor too, ex-professor, because of her, I kind of feel like I got traumatized a little bit. And every time when she sent me a message, I'm like, I heard a ding, and right away I was like, oh, I'm going to have a heart attack. Anyway, so I learned from her is I sometimes when I was doing my research paper, and then I told her I would get her something done by this date. Of course, it was a little bit overestimating about myself. And then I couldn't finish. Then she was asking about my papers. Are you done your first draft or second draft or third draft? I don't know how many drafts I've gone through. And then so I said, oh, this is why I couldn't finish about following reasons. And she didn't even ask. Like, she didn't even ask, oh, how's everything going or something. She said, I need a date. If you can't finish by the date, then don't tell me you can't finish by the date, because on that day, I'm expecting your work. I said, oh, okay. So with her, I'm reducing my emotional bay part, and I'm trying to be more reasonable, figure out a timeline of my work, and I gave her a reasonable expectation. So that is something I'm still working on it, is I try not to promise. No, I forgot. Promise. Oh my goodness, I couldn't say the word. Anyway, so I try not to promise people for something, because I never know, if they say, oh, let's hang out at some day. I can say, yeah, sure, of course. I always say, let me figure out a day for you first, because I don't know what's going on. There are a lot of things going on. Adulting is difficult. You don't have a linear life, and everything is not going on track all the time. And then you will find something just off track, and then all of a sudden you kind of lost control. So that's adulting. And difficult, right? So communication, same thing. So you don't promise something you can't keep. And you always want to figure out a plan for that. If you can't finish this, or if someone is accusing you of something, and you have to be very calm to defend yourself. You're not trying to say something like, this is how I feel. I feel really unfair you treat me like this because I feel hurt, or something like that. You have to say that this is why you are being unreasonable to me. And this is what I've done. And I think those steps are good. Like, I followed every single instruction. And then I did this, I did that, I did that. If someone is accusing you of something, then you have to say why they're not reasonable, because 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons. You're not trying to tell him or her, saying that, oh, you're being unreasonable. You're being really mean to me because, I feel really hurt. I feel like that was how I felt when I worked for a previous job. And then, I felt like, they're not doing this for me. They're not doing that for me. But then realized, they are not doing a lot of things for me, but I have to make sure I get everything done correctly, so no one can point their fingers at me saying, you're not doing a good job, right? So that's what I learned, is when you communicate, especially when you want to communicate effectively, you think about your goal, right? So that's something I forgot to mention. Think about your goal. What is your goal during this conversation? Doesn't matter if it's a verbal or it's written. You have a goal to talk to people, right? What is your goal? Your goal to get things done? Then you will try your best to get things done. The goal is to convey your feelings. You would do your best to let people know how you feel about these things. But you have to know that what kind of people you're talking to. There are certain people like me. I care about if you get things done or not. Certain people, like some other people who are definitely more thoughtful than me, and they might care about your feelings, and that's when you can let your feelings out and let them know how you actually really feel about this thing, and they will understand you. I'm very lucky I have this boss. I really like her. I mean, she's also my best friend too. I at work, we only talk about work. We only talk about how to get things done, or how to get things done properly, effectively, whatever. But after that, then she's a very good listener. She will listen to how I feel about things. And then she'll be like really patiently listening to me saying, oh, this is how I feel. And then she explains. But not everyone is like that. So at work, not everyone is a good listener. They just want to see the results. That's a reality. Then if that's the case, you do your best to get things done on your end correctly so no one can say something about it. If something happens, you know how to cover your butt, right? And then when you communicate, you have evidence of everything, which is why I like email, because I have evidence of everything. If you're not communicating through email, but always make sure you have a Word document or however you want to keep notes down, do that, because then that's a track of your record. You said at this time, at this day, I did this. So I make sure I covered everything. I didn't miss any mission, right? So that is how when people kind of come after you saying, no, you didn't do that. And you will be like, no, I have evidence on this day I did this, and this is my note. And people will think you're very organized and you're very efficient, right? So that is number one. Number two, when it comes to friends, I don't really want to get into this too much because I want to keep the video short. But when it comes to friends, you also need to know what kind of friends you have. And of course, different people have different personalities. Some people will be good listeners. They care about how you feel. They want to listen to you a lot. And some people are more like, tell me what I can do for you, right? So you need to distinguish that, then you won't upset yourself. You can't talk about your feelings to a person who only wants to find a solution for you. And they will be so pissed because like, I don't care about solutions. I want you to just, understand my feelings. But then you're talking to a wrong audience. And then of course, you're talking about things to a friend who cares about feelings, but have no solutions. And then you'll be like, I'm looking for solutions. Why are you always saying, yeah, I totally feel you. I totally feel you. Because after the whole conversation, you feel like, yeah, sure, you feel me. And the problem is still there, right? So know your audience. Doesn't matter if it's your friends, your work friends, your coworkers, your colleagues, or your clients, customers, students. Know them and know their roles and know your own positions. And what is your position? And then figure out the goal of the communication, the conversation. What is your goal? Your goal is to get things done. Your goal is to communicate and bring each other closer. Or your goal is to simply just vent out all your feelings and then go from there, right? So that is how you can work on communication. But of course, communication is such a big topic to talk about. I can't fit everything in this video, but in the future, if I find more information, resourceful information, or something more interesting, I'm definitely going to bring this up again to talk about, specifically how. But right now, this is how I feel about communication. This is how I kind of learned from one of my experiences there. Yeah, so hope you like it. I do post something there to ask for a Q&A thing to do. I'm thinking about doing a Q&A video, but I feel like might be too much because I'm very talkative. Even if I only have 10 questions, it will be like a super long video. Anyway, I will do my best. So this is the communication. Hope you like it and let me know how you feel. Like if you ever have any struggle with the communication or you have some like you were mistreated by other people, and then that's when you get angry and you couldn't talk, you couldn't defend yourself. So any kind of experience, please feel free to share that with me. And also, if you like this in podcast, and then I have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast, just look for Basic Coffee Corner. And of course, you can also find me on 喜马拉雅 and 小宇宙. Look for 长安小贝儿. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Subscribe is very important. And that's pretty much everything. So I'll see you next time.